Today I'm going to be doing a video on my restoration of these Truman boots in color 85 horse rump. What happened with these boots was purely my fault, 100%. Truman's website, actually, they recommend what to use on horse rump, and I did not use the recommended product. Yeah, it's this stuff. It's called Bic 4. This is what Truman recommends, and this is what I probably should have used. But yeah, it's Bic 4, so it conditions, cleans, polishes, and protects. It will not darken finished leather, and that's a big one. So what I did is I used this stuff from Saphir called Garden Green conditioning cream. I put that stuff on these boots and I didn't like the outcome, and so I decided to clean them. What happened was as I was cleaning it, whatever was in that conditioner stripped out some of the natural pigments and dyes from the boots, and so when you see them, the color looks kind of splotchy throughout. What I ended up doing essentially is I re-dyed the boot. None of this is a reflection on Truman boots. I love Truman boots. If you follow me, you know that I have a lot of Truman boots. In fact, I just got 3 new pairs in that I'm working on reviews on right now and unboxing videos right now. So I love Truman Boot Company. Don't think that this is anything against them. This is 100% my fault. That's the caveat that I want to throw out before I even get started on this video, because it was totally me just not following their instructions and trying to go rogue and trying to try different things, and part of it was my ignorance of just not understanding how this horse rump from the Merriam Tannery functions, because it's not like anything else in my collection. It's not like Horween Chrome Excel or Horween Shell Cordovan that so many of us understand its nuances. This stuff from the Merriam Tannery is different. It's dyed using all natural processes. That means that the characteristics of the leather are just going to be different. And there's not too much literature out there on the internet about it, so I just kind of want to share my experience. Definitely follow the advice that the bootmakers give you. Don't do what I did, which was just go off on a renegade journey and try to alter the patina trajectory of the boot, if you will. But I'm very happy with how they turned out. I actually had them resold by a guy named Cobbler Sonny U, I believe. He's installed all the Vibram protective soles on all my leather-soled boots and shoes, and he's really good. And as I came to find out, he's very good at resoling as well. So yeah, these are the 3 products that I use on the boots. So this is Saphir Tincture. This was step 1. And then this is Saphir Juvicure. That was step 2. And then this is Saphir, this is just a conditioning cream, shea butter base, but they're all Saphir and they're all the same color. They're all dark green. It says dark green on there. This is a tincture to actually dye the leather. This is a recolorant. I don't know the difference between the two, but I did this first, this second. So this was more of the base treatment. This was the second layer, and then this is the top layer. So I did those 3, and actually Cobbler Sonny actually used this very same stuff. He recommended this as the final treatment as well. So again, Cobbler Sonny, he knows his stuff. So anyways, with that out of the way, let's get this video started. These are my Truman boots in color 85 horse rump, and as you can see, I'm having a bit of trouble with the leather here. This horse rump is an interesting leather in that it's dyed using only natural processes. I assume it's because of the natural dye processes. They say that they get a lot of their natural tinctures and dyes from trees. What I did is I applied some Saphir leather wax to it, and the leather wax, it was called Garden Green. The Garden Green made it almost too bright of a green, and so I decided to remove it. When I removed it, I started noticing these splotchy areas, these kind of dry areas that seem to be turning white. I was kind of disappointed with that outcome, so what I did is I went ahead and ordered a different green conditioning cream from Saphir. It's called Forest Green, I think it was called. That produced a very nice, a very emerald green color, and I loved it. And then I noticed as I started walking, it started to form creases here, and you could see sort of the brown underneath. So it looked like basically that I had put makeup on my boots. And I didn't like that. So I went to the Merriam Tannery website, and I was reading on their website. They don't give too much detail about how to maintain this leather, how to nourish it. I just want to get these back to a nice emerald green color like what they came from the get-go. There's not many resources out there, and I am not an expert. So, but what I did find was Saphir offers some really amazing products. This is called Tincture. What this is supposed to do anyways is it's supposed to penetrate and basically dye the leather. I read in one shoe care blog once that you have to go to some lengths to actually go in and affect the original color. This is one of those things. This is about $15. I got it on Amazon. And what's it say? It's a penetrating dye for smooth leather, suede, and nubuck to change the leather color from light to dark. It's called Dark Green. I already opened it up and gave it a smell. It's alcohol based. Comes with this little thing. And I also tried scouring YouTube for people using this. The only people that I found using this it was in different languages, so I couldn't understand what they were saying. So, all right, but I'm really hoping for a positive result. I had to go to some lengths to even get the wax cream off. I was using Bic saddle soap. I spent probably an hour last night trying to get it all off. I was on Instagram last night, and I saw some horse rump boots. They're called Salvia horse rump. And what's interesting about those is those also appear to be a grayish green. And my theory is that with this stuff, there's different gradients of everything. In my opinion, the Salvia looks like just like a lighter gradient of color 85. Again, I'm not an expert. I don't know all about the tanning processes involved. That's my speculation. Observing this leather for a long time, what I think Salvia horse rump is color 85 just to a lesser degree. Right now, these light patches look like Salvia horse rump. I'm gonna start getting a little bit more aggressive with the tincture. As you can see, I did the heel cap, and it looks really good. It looks like it might actually stay. This might require a couple different coats. The toe's one of the worst areas. The tongue, surprisingly, has been fine throughout this whole process and has been laughing at the rest of the boot. I talked about how it was next to impossible to find any literature talking about horse rump. Well, guess what? It's even harder to find anything about green leather. Dyeing green leather, maintaining green leather. It's one of those things where you'd have to talk to a cobbler. It just gets super specific. Once you get in the weeds of this stuff, of the different leathers, and then the variations from batch to batch, and all the different products for maintaining the leathers and caring for the leathers, it really comes down to a lot of anecdotal experience. Last night I was going over this with Bic saddle soap, which is an amazing cleaning agent for leathers because it not only cleans, it's very gentle as well because it has a lot of oils in it that help. Part of the process that I did is I tried to get as much of the original cream off as possible, and then I set these in front of the fan overnight on a low setting so that they could completely dry out. It appears that I have thoroughly gone over the entirety of the boot. It might require another coat, I don't know, but for now I'm gonna let this just kind of sit and soak in. So far, I'm actually kind of impressed. I think it looks pretty good. And again, I'm gonna use another process after this. So I'm not stopping with this. I'm not just relying on this. But I think the core concern right now is to get the base leather. This needs a base, a very deep base colorant, which is this green tincture. All right, so here we are 1 day later. This is after I have applied the tincture, and then once the tincture dried, this stuff arrived just in time. It's called Saphir Juvacure recolorant. And you can see the directions there. It basically says to, apply it to the leather, wait 15 minutes, and then brush it. So that's what I did. I applied a full coat and then touched up some other spots that needed a little extra. And I'm really liking how it's starting to look. I'm thinking that there is hope in restoring this leather. Maybe not even to its original color, but maybe to a better color, which I'm really excited about. Obviously a dramatic improvement from where I started. Now, one thing that I will say about this Juvacure stuff
is that it kind of reminded me of like a finger paint, like when you're a kid and they give you finger paints to play with. It's that same, almost a jelly-like consistency, and it has the tendency to want to dry in strange clump formations, so you want to really keep going over it with a paintbrush or whatever you're using to apply it, just to make sure that it dries evenly. But so far I'm liking what's going on. This is just to give an update of phase 2. Now again, the tongue, that's the original color. This tongue has been untouched. I haven't done anything to the tongues. I got a little smudge of the Juvicure right there, but aside from that, I haven't treated the tongues. So the tongues are the original color still. So these are actually coming out to be a nicer green in my opinion. So, but we'll see. Again, I wanna put the wax on it. Then what I want to do is I want to walk around in them for a long time, maybe a week, just to see how they really turn out. Because here's what I'm learning: you could give your boots a treatment, but you don't know how your boots are really going to actually accept the treatment, if that makes sense. Like I said with the wax, initially I put that wax on there and I thought, oh wow, that looks great, and I'll show pictures of what it looked like. And then literally within the first few steps, the wax started to break up and come off, and especially in the toe area along these creases here is where I saw the brown undertones starting to come out, and I'm like, oh, I know I'm not going to be happy with that. So let's see what else we could do. Phases 1 and 2 are complete. The only thing that remains now is to use this stuff. This is the Saphir Cream 1925. It's shea butter based. This is mostly intended to be a top layer, if you will. So it's called Dark Green Vert Foncé, and it's real easy to work with. It's very much just a standard cream. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just apply that with my finger, because if you use a brush or a rag, a lot of it gets absorbed into the applicator. So I've found that it's actually not that helpful. It's just better to rub it in sort of like a lotion. I actually have a lot more confidence this time around, because the first time that I did this, I tried to force this cream into becoming the pigment of the leather, and the leather don't work like that. I'm gonna take this horsehair brush and start the buffing. So yeah, once this is done, then what I can do is I'll just start cleaning off the green from the eyelets, get all that off, do some finishing touches. All right, and as you can see here, the uppers are looking pretty good after all the conditioning and all the treatments I've done to them. I had an issue with the sole actually, where the sole was stained by some of that tincture, and so what I did was I tried to sand the sole off, and it looks pretty good. It's just the sole it doesn't have that natural look that it used to have. It kind of looks a little too light, and I actually sanded down pretty deep, and still the tincture made it pretty deep into the sole, so it's still kind of visible, that sort of aquamarine dye, that aqua type looking color kind of permeates kind of deeply. The next best step is to get them resoled. I think a good resole will really bring them back to life. So I am happy with how these look right now, but just to be sort of on the OCD side, I am going to get these resoled and have them looking as good as they possibly can. And so, funny thing, I've actually known this Cobbler Sonny, for a number of years now. I've been using him for all of he's the guy that I entrust to install all my Vibram protective soles on all of my leather-soled boots and shoes. And so I've been going to him for years. He's really good. He's really affordable, fast, and does amazing work. Typically, you only find a cobbler that can do 2 of those 3 things, but this guy has always done all 3 of these 3 things. In fact, what I find so amazing about him is that I'll go in to drop my shoes off and he'll ask me when I want to pick them up, as in, do you want to pick these up in an hour or 2 hours or tomorrow? So he does outstanding service, and this is my first time going for a resole with him. And I was actually talking to him recently, and come to find out, Thursday Boots actually refer their customers to Cobbler Sonny. In fact, if you go look at the Thursday Boots website, you'll see him on the list of Thursday Boots preferred preferred cobblers. So anyways, without further ado, let's look at how these turned out. The grand reveal here. This is the finalized product. This is as far as I could bring them in their restoration process. I think they turned out very nice. I am very happy with the RESOLE. Cobbler Sonny did an outstanding job. This was his first time encountering the stitch down welt, and it's pretty amazing actually. I brought my boots in and he was examining the stitch down welt and he's like, oh yeah, I could handle this. And sure enough, he was able to handle it. He did a fantastic job. And it was my impression that stitch down welts were more difficult to resole than Goodyear welts, but he took these and just resold them like they were any other boot, you know? So I was pretty impressed by that. He did an outstanding job at a fantastic price. And so anyways, please, I would like to ask you guys now, what do you guys think? Was there anything I could have done better? How did this restoration process go? Is there any additional tips or hints you might have for me? Was there anything you would have done differently? Please share your thoughts and your insights if you've been doing this longer. I know there's some guys out there, they have a lot more experience with this stuff than I do. So I just kind of want to, I'm interested to see what people think about how I handled this whole situation. Really, it took a long time and a lot of research and, you know, some help from outside sources, but I think that they have come together well. And so if you're looking for a resole, I know that Cobbler Sonny does accept mail-in orders. So if you're not in the local area, you could always send your boots into him and he'll resole them and ship them back to you. Like I said, I've entrusted him to work on my Aldens, on my Grant Stones, on my Truman boots here, on all my nice boots and shoes. I bring them in and he always knows just what to do with them. It's pretty amazing. He's an artist, he's an expert, and he has really good instincts about this stuff. And that's not something that you can just find anywhere. He can take a look at a leather. He doesn't need to know the specifics. He just has like an instinct for how to do this stuff. That's the best way I could really describe it, is he's got the instincts. So he knows how to care for this stuff beyond what you would even think, you know, beyond what you would even know to think about how to care for your boots. So he is an expert. He's award-winning. He's got my vote for Cobbler of the Year. So, so anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you in my next video.